welcome to Coaching Champions. I'm Anders Søgaard and I'm on a mission to help you transform your life. This video today is about what you should be looking for when you're hiring a coach, whether that is for your organization, for one-to-one coaching, also known as life coaching, or for your child or teenager. Now, you might ask yourself, why should I hire a coach in the first place? The reason why this is a really smart idea is that you will have someone who will support you 100% in achieving your goals much faster than you normally would on your own. So let's look at some of the key things that you must be aware of before you're hiring a coach and consider. Number one, accreditation by the ICF and qualifications. The ICF is the International Coach Federation, and you want to make sure that your coach has got a coaching qualification that has been accredited by them. Otherwise, you could end up being coached by somebody who actually knows nothing about coaching, who hasn't got the experience, who hasn't undergone the professional training that it takes to become a really great coach, and therefore you will not get value for money. Number two, you need to make sure that your coach has indemnity insurance. If your coach does not have an insurance, that is not a very professional attitude towards their work as a coach. So accreditation and indemnity insurance are absolutely key to find out about your coach, and they must have those before you start engaging in a professional coaching relationship. You also need to have written agreement that clearly states the terms and conditions for the coaching, and that could be such as obviously how much the coaching is going to cost, when you are going to pay, whether you will get any refunds or not, what will happen if you or the coach cancel sessions, and so on. So all those things, make sure that you have those clearly written down in front of you, and that this agreement is signed by you and by the coach. Now, if you are looking for a coach for your child or teenager, you must make sure that the coach has an enhanced DBS certification, because this means that the coach has no criminal record and therefore is safe to be coaching your child. And it doesn't matter whether that takes place in your home or online, as is most common these days. You really must make sure that this is the case, that there is an enhanced DBS for working with children and young adults. You should also make sure, if you have a coach for your child, that you are getting regular updates on progress and problems that might have been encountered during the coaching, because it could well be that some of those sessions will take place without you in the room. So make sure that you know when these updates are, how long they are, and if you have to pay for them, for example. Now, the coach that you want to have is somebody who supports you 100%. And what they must have is excellent listening skills. That means that they never interrupt you, that they are patient, and that they are non-judgmental in their attitude towards you. In other words, they have to be 100% supportive of you. Also, make sure that there's a really good chemistry between you and the coach. And what that means is, do you feel comfortable working with your coach? Do not be pressurized into any kind of coaching relationship, because the foundation of your relationship with your coach must be based on mutual respect and trust. Another thing that your coach must be able to do is to ask you challenging questions as and when is needed during the sessions. And that is in order to establish clarity about goals and barriers. For example, your coach wants to make sure that he or she really understands what your goals are, but also that they understand what the barriers are to your success. So therefore, your coach must be able to ask what we call challenging questions. And let me just give you an example of what a challenging question is. Let's say I was coaching you and we went through the end of the session. I said, okay, so when are you going to do this? Whatever it is that you have as your goal. And you will say to me, oh, I'm going to do it next week. Now, that's not good enough. So as your coach, I will ask permission to ask you a challenging question. And the question would be, when specifically are you going to do this? And what I mean by that as a challenging question is, I want to know the day next week. So for example, Tuesday, and I want to know what time, for example, at 9:30 in the morning. Now, the reason why I would ask that type of challenging question is that I want you to be held accountable because you are responsible for achieving this particular task. So that's an example of a challenging question. And you should always receive those kind of questions if your coach is not 100% convinced that there is clarity about what the next step is, for example. And the coach should always ask you permission to do so before asking that type of question. Experience. Should your coach be experienced, or should your coach have a lot of life experience, or should it maybe be a very young person? But that's totally up to you. You have to decide what you think is the right coach for you. But obviously there are things that can only be learned from life experiences, which can be very important in how effective your coach actually is. Does your coach need to know everything about that you want to be coached on? The answer is no, not at all. For example, I coach in the financial sector and I know very little about the stock market and how it works. But that doesn't mean that I am not an effective coach for those people in the financial sector who hires me. So that's something you really need to think about and make up in your own mind what's important for you in terms of the experience that the coach has and how long they have been coaching for. But you should, of course, ask about that before hiring the coach. The other thing that's really important is that the coach has no hidden agenda on part of the coaching process. So the coach should really never tell you what to think and what to do, because that is entirely your responsibility. And if they do that, it's actually mentoring. So if they did want to do that, they have to say, do you mind if I step out of my coaching role and give you some mentoring advice? And then you can accept or reject that. And finally, one thing I want to mention is references. You should ask for references from your coach. And you can see that, on their website or on LinkedIn, or maybe on YouTube, but you should ask for references just to see what other people think about the coaching. And you can obviously also see that on Google. Now, I hope that this was helpful as a very short video telling you about what you need to look out for, the things that you must look out for as a minimum when you are hiring a coach. You're more than welcome to contact me about this, and you can do that via my website, which is paulsøgaard.com, and you can see that in the video below. And I hope that you will find the right coach that will give you lots of success. And if you want to be coached by me, don't hesitate to get in contact. Thank you very much for watching, and bye for now.